Hey, Anna.
Hey, Mike.
So I've registered Billy on Petly on the app, like you suggested, but I haven't really got into it. And I'm thinking, well, he's 6 now, and he's pretty well behaved. So, like, really, what's the point of the Petly app? What's it going to do for me?
Well, the Petly app is about understanding that your life with your dog is a journey. And through your journey, just like with us humans, we change and develop over our life stages. And, you know, enriching your dog mentally as well as physically is so important. So for me, for example, with my cases that I see, I'll help dogs on the day and throw so much advice at clients that I know I can see that they can't absorb it all. So of course we supply notes and follow up and backup. But what I can't do as a physical human being is be with these people every single day. So where Petly comes in is that it's on an app and it's easily accessible from home. It comes in all sorts of different levels from puppy up to senior in terms of training advice, new activities to try and engage your dog to do. There's always more to do with your dog. This is how I see it. I don't believe people tap into their dog's olfaction enough, not in a way that you can turn every dog into a little mini police search and rescue dog in your own home. And that really enriches dogs. It wears them out so quickly. And then they feel so confident and satisfied when they find what you were asking them to sniff out. So it's about helping your dog and learning more about what makes your dog tick and how to get the best out of your dog.
Okay, you got me sold. I will get back into the app and look into it a bit more, and I will find a program that's suitable for Billy. So to get Petly, Petli, do what I did. Download it from the App Store or Google Play.
Instabigs, you're really excited because we've come all the way over from Hackney to Pall Mall, and we're in a very stylish gallery called Panter and Hall. We're going to be speaking to the artist in residence, Sam Toft, and the amazing CEO of Wild at Heart Foundation, Nikki Tibbles. I'm Anna Webb. Welcome to A Dog's Life. Nikki Tibbles, welcome to A Dog's Life, and Sam Toft, it's an honour to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So Nikki, this is just amazing for me because here we are, we're on Pall Mall in the most amazing art gallery, fusing the two things I'm most passionate about in life, which is dogs, everyone knew that one, and art. And since we last met, Nikki, I'm now an ambassador for Wild at Heart Foundation, which, I'm really proud of. So,
we're so proud.
This
I'm
is
so grateful.
Oh, no, not at all.
You.
No. Gosh. So, Nikki, this is a super event for Wild at Heart to, raise funds. Explain the relationship between you and the amazing Sam.
Well, Sam is extraordinary. So kind, so amazing, and a brilliant, beautiful, genius artist. So if any of you listening to this do not know Sam Toft's work, you need to look now and buy, because it is so utterly beautiful, utterly charming. There is an incredible naivety. Your use of colour is just exquisite, and it has dogs and flowers. It's just perfect. Every piece is so beautiful, Sam. And
thank you so
obviously
much.
we're here, and Sam has donated some extraordinary pieces to be sold for auction for Wild at Heart Foundation. So we are incredibly grateful. Thank you.
Very, very
Thank you.
Very welcome. Well, Sam, you're not a stranger to rescue. I think, in fact, your newest dog, so to speak, is a German Shepherd. Yes. Tell us a bit more about Betty.
Betty was a police dog trained in Croatia. But apparently she was a little bit anxious and she failed her police dog training at the end. So she came up for adoption, and I brought her to my home in Brighton. She'd never actually been inside a home, and she'd never had one owner. So she was quite anxious. She couldn't play with balls, this, that and the other. I don't know, but she is a beautiful dog.
That must have been great for you to help rehabilitate her.
Yes.
Because I know in reading up on you, Sam, one of your other career thoughts, if you hadn't made such a success of your art, which is totally deserved, by the way, and I totally agree with Nikki, you wanted to be a dog trainer.
I would have absolutely loved to be a dog trainer. I'm a bit of an introvert. I get on quite well with dogs and sometimes not with people.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, I hear you.
Yes. And I love to read and study very kind ways of training dogs. Betty was trained very harshly. She came to me, her back end was all bruised. They squeezed the back end of dogs to make them bite.
Oh, police dog, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So she couldn't stand anybody touching her back end. She was nervous about a lot of things. You raised your voice at all, you know, I'd say, "Oh, Betty, don't do that," or something. You'd raise your voice at all, and she'd cower. So heaven knows how she'd been trained, but she was very well trained. She was a very good dog. So I had to really train her to be naughty, to be a little bit naughty,
to be loved.
Yes. Just to kind of, you don't have to do that, love. Come up here. You know, she wouldn't come on the couch. She wouldn't come on my bed. Go under the bed all the time.
I love that.
So I had to
Training.
train her to
get
be
on the
naughty.
bed. Yeah.
Well, I agree. You know, I think, you know, I think there's a study that's been done that proves that owners get a better night's sleep with their dog in their bed. For sure. You know, so none of this dogs in the kitchen. We love them in the bedroom.
Yes.
But dogs in art, they've transcended time, you know,
Yes.
haven't they, Sam?
Yes.
As, you know, a symbol of loyalty.
Yes.
And love and fidelity and truth, all of these various things, everyone from Leonardo right through to modern day have used dogs. Would you say in your art you're using dogs in your art like this to either be a familiar for people to relate to or to really, you know, add extra impact, extra symbolism into your art? Or am I being too complicated?
Well, my art really is centred around an imaginary family who were my imaginary friends when I was at primary school. I was a little bit odd when I was growing up, and so I found it hard to make friends. And we moved around a lot. We were vegetarians. We were all a little bit odd. Mum used to make my own clothes, all that kind of thing. Not very nice when you're a little girl, and people didn't want to be my friends. So I made up imaginary friends and played hide and seek with them in the playground. And the imaginary friends were Ernest Hemingway Mustard. And then I gave him a wife, Violet, and a little dog, Doris. And I guess they're all facets of my own personality, because Ernest is like the clumsy, slightly eccentric, doesn't really fit in, as I feel I am. And then Violet is, she's impatient and not very tolerant, and she likes to stay indoors, and she's a bit of a couch potato. And the dog is, she's her own little free spirit. You always see her looking out at the horizon. She never kind of does what she's told. She's always got her own. I'm actually writing a little novel about her. I'm writing a love story. You might like to.
Oh, that's
about,
wonderful.
It's called Doris on the Orient Express, and the romantic hero is a English bull terrier, Jeremiah Dumpling Hargreaves.
Jeremiah Dumpling Hargreaves.
Where'd you get these names from? They're genius.
Well, at home I've got a bull terrier, although she's too rambunctious to bring down to Pall Mall and an art gallery, but she has got the great nose, you know. So what inspired you to bring an EBT, an English bull terrier, into the creative process?
Well, it was funny. I was thinking who would be a nice partner for Doris. And she was a rescue dog. She was brought up on the wild Brighton and Hove border. She was a street dog. She was desperate. And no, but she actually in the wilds of Sussex. But the Mustards adopted her, and this is a story of her youth when she was a street dog. And I thought, a small terrier, a small skinny terrier, who would she go for? And I thought she would go for a strong, masculine guarding breed. You know,
To be looked after.
to
on
be
the
looked
streets.
after
Yeah.
on the streets.
Yeah,
Handsome.
Handsome, yes,
Handsome.
handsome, but
handsome.
with rugged good looks. But
Absolutely.
yes, yes.
Stubborn.
Yeah,
Stubborn,
stubborn,
yes,
you
yes.
know, opinionated.
Exactly, and you don't argue with one of those. You know, do you? You don't argue. So she could nestle in. And
I love that.
I love that. She's got
Yeah,
someone
that's
to look
so
after
great.
her.
Yes, no, absolutely. And it's
I could do
highlighting,
one of those.
you know, we're back to World Heart Foundation, highlighting, of course, street dogs, how they get about, you know, and the perils that they face,
Yes.
which, you know, because it's such a sobering thought, Nikki, that 75% of the world's dog population are strays.
Yes.
And
They
that's really where you've stepped in now for, gosh, well over a decade now, helping rehabilitate, sterilise,
Yes.
vaccinate,
Yeah.
feed, and
Education.
love.
Yes. I mean, it is a very sobering thought, you know, that the 600 million stray dog population, only 25% of those are owned and loved. And, you know, owning a dog across the globe has very many different meanings. You know, owning a dog could mean it's tied up on a chain for all its life and maybe gets a bowl of water once a week. But, you know, at Wild at Heart, at the foundation, you know, our goals have always been to look at the root of the problem. And rehoming, of course, is so incredibly important, and it's the tangible, lovely, warmness that, you know, people get when they rescue a dog. And it's taking a dog off the street, which enables another dog to come in off the street. So you're saving a life by adopting. But of course, you know, when you're talking of numbers of 600 million and growing, that, you know, the root of the problem, of course, is sterilisation, and to educate people to sterilise their dogs, and also how to look after them, and to, you know, help in terms of vaccinations, and, you know, knowing that, you know, sort of even people don't treat their dogs, you know, and it's obvious. Also a sort of financial element, of course, you know, feeding their dogs, treating them for, you know, heartworm, for ticks, fleas, rabies vaccinations, all of the things that we take for granted, you know, are hard for a lot of dog owners. So, you know, wherever we work across the globe, and we do work across the globe, and, you know, this is why we are so grateful for this wonderful, wonderful work that you're doing with us, Sam, to raise funds for us. That, you know, we can do so much with any money that's raised. You know, in India, I think, you know, it might cost us £15 to sterilise a dog. We sterilise hundreds of dogs in India with this amazing charity that we work with. We are sterilising dogs all over the globe, and that is. Every penny that the foundation raises will go to sterilisation, to education campaigns. It goes to people to help feed dogs on the streets, to vaccinate, to rabies vaccinate. So every dog we sterilise is vaccinated, rabies vaccinated, heartworm treated, and tick and flea treatment. So all of that together. And we sterilise a lot of owned dogs, because then we actually get to educate the owner. And that's good, and then they will talk about, well, sort of quite proud to have a sterilised dog and not having litters of puppies running around everywhere. So, you know, we have an incredible team at the foundation who are so passionate about what we do, and a great education programme. So everyone that we work with, you know, they have to sign up to our sort of, you know, the sterilisation moment, and want to work with our education programme, take that into schools, teach it to owners. So, you know, hopefully it's a pin drop, but it's
But you've achieved so much already. I mean, I think hundreds of thousands of sterilisations have been, you know, achieved because of the funds raised, and because you really care. And of course, you've shared your life with several dogs that you've brought home, because it must break your heart working on all of these projects, you know, and I guess you must get hardened to it a little bit. You know, I've been to India 3 times, absolutely love it, and, you know, I saw the street dogs, and I felt my heart broke for them. There was a mother and these puppies, and I bought food, and I said to the man on the stall, please let me feed these dogs. I'm buying this food for the dogs, and it's just cultural. It's poverty there. Although when a tuk-tuk driver hit a dog, and
They don't stop.
They don't stop. And that was just dreadful, But Nikki, so has there been a moment in your journey that really sticks out, that perhaps wakes you up at night?
Oh, well, I mean,
I'm sure there's been lots.
I mean, where would I start? How long do you have? I mean, currently, obviously, the situation in the countries which are under such extreme conflict, the
yes.
animals obviously, and please don't feel that I'm negating the plight of people across the globe where there is warfare, but the animals where there are warfare it's horrific. And we are working with an amazing charity in Ukraine, where we're sending out, I believe, 5,500 tons of dog food every month. And we have supported over 1,000 sterilisations so far with this funding for Ukraine. So we are working in Ukraine, and we help wherever we can. And I think, the goal for the foundation also has always been to establish long-term relationships so that we don't just go in, drop some food, donate a couple of £1,000 to sterilise a few hundred dogs. It's sustainability, and that is another way that we want to work. But I did a lot of, you asked me the moments of, there's so many, and you said, have I become hardened to it? Not at all, because I spend most days in tears about something. But going to Puerto Rico and working on all the sterilisation clinics there was just so amazing, in that we set up a clinic that the Humane Society took on, and they enabled us to bring in vets from all over the world. And it was the first time that Puerto Rico, after the hurricane, had allowed vets to come into the country. So, if we used to send out vets to Greece, for example, we would be shut down by the mayor because we're taking work away from the local vet. So for the first time in the history of Puerto Rico, we were allowed to take vets into the country. We set up a practice clinic, and we could not believe, having been there for a few days, we didn't know how many dogs would turn up. People would bring their dogs. And the queues around the block of the stadiums, because we were given stadiums with the roofs hanging off after the hurricane. And, we started this clinic, and then it went on to run for 3 to 4 years, stopped because, sadly, of COVID. And we had 5 consecutive clinics running across the island every 3 months. And we were sterilising, I don't know, maybe 5,000 to 7,000 dogs in 6 days.
Gosh.
And that was working, and I was working in the recovery clinic with this amazing woman, Gil, who we now have this outreach source work with in Tulum with the foundation. And that means we were getting a dog in recovery every second. And that's probably one of the most happiest moments of my life, in doing something so different, to make such a difference. But then, and while you're there, I'd pick up, on the way back to where we were staying, and I'd probably pick up about 5 or 10 dogs. At one point I had 30 pit bulls in my hotel room, but that's another story, another wonderful story. Lovely old pit bull in a roll top bath. That was just heaven. I think the work we did in Puerto Rico, and we're trying to emulate that with every shelter that we work with, and in so many countries, that whilst you're there, you're actually doing something, because you can pick up that dog with a broken leg and you can make a difference. But when you get on the plane, I would just dissolve into tears, and the poor hostess would come and say, "Are you all right, madam?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm suffering."
You brought a
Because-
dog back, I think, from Puerto Rico.
Two.
Did-
Yes. I did indeed, yes. I was handed Rita, who is literally the funniest dog in my life. When she was just 10 days old, she'd been dumped on a highway. So I had her from 10 days old. She slept around my neck. I got up every 2 hours to feed her. And we were doing a clinic in San Juan for 3 days a week, for 2 days for people to bring in any of their dogs just to be sterilised, and 1 day just for pit bull owners. And I was working in this clinic, and we were sterilising about 100 dogs a day, 3 days a month, actually, sorry. And there was this beautiful dog that looked like my Reuben, who had passed away, who I'd had from Battersea Dogs Home, a Ridgeback boxer cross. And there was Reuben staring at me out of this cage, and 5 crates up, couldn't stand up. And I just looked at this beautiful dog. Ruby is her name because of Reuben. And I said, "Can I just get this dog out?" I had little Rita under my arm, a little thug. And they got Ruby out, and she just collapsed like Bambi. She couldn't stand. And she came home with me. And then 3 months later, they arrived in the UK.
Oh, Nikki, that's amazing, you know.
So, yes.
And, you know, rehabilitating dogs like this is something, you know, Sam's touched on it already. It's so rewarding.
Oh.
You know, I mean, once upon a time, Mr. Binks was too scared to come to Pall Mall. But now, you know, he absolutely loves it. You know, he's done a few podcast episodes because he is the official co-host of A Dog's Life, aren't you, Mr. Binks? Yes. Yes, indeed. I know. So what do you think, Sam, now, you know, in terms of your journey with dogs, what would you say they've taught you the most and helped you the most with? Because being an artist, you mentioned earlier, you know, you don't like socialising so much, or not that you don't like, but maybe found it a bit difficult. I think a lot of creatives are a bit like that. I know, you know, I can be like that, you know, too, and find sometimes it's quite awkward. And for me, dogs just give you this wonderful bridge, this way to communicate with people. And they help so much in opening doors and just being kind. Dogs never judge you, and they, you know, and you can't lie to a dog. But I think, you know, human dialogue and so on, we just have to look at the world, as Nikki said, you know, it's a weird old place.
Yes, I feel, I don't know, I've often thought there was something a little bit wrong with me, because sometimes I don't understand the games people play. I'm very straightforward, and I'm thinking, why are you saying that when you mean that? You know, I've always been like that as a child, you know, as an adult, I've never really grown out of it. Yeah.
How perceptive.
But dogs, they're just so straightforward. If they can understand what you're trying to tell them, they will do it, won't they? They'll you know, or they'll have their own little ways, and then you can, you know, hopefully you've got a bigger brain than them, and you can help them to fulfill whatever they want to do. And I think with dogs, I've always felt, we always had them as children. Actually, we were brought up with German Shepherds. My mum used to work on a German Shepherd breeding kennels, actually. That was one of her jobs when she was when she first left my dad. So we were just brought up with loads and loads of dogs, and I just always felt at home more confident. And then when I started having my own dogs, I felt like I could go out, and if I could look after my dog, I felt, I don't know, more confident as a person. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think my dogs have helped me so much more than I've helped them.
Yes.
They just give me so much, you know.
Rescued
I help,
and
you
saved
know.
lives.
Yes, but they just give back so much. And they're always there, they're always pleased to see you, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely, and they don't answer you back. But
And
I
they're
think,
so transparent, you know.
yeah, but science proves that strokey Mr. Binks right now is releasing oxytocin in my
Yes,
brain.
yes.
It's reducing.
Well, can we all have a go?
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
he's so silky.
He's reducing all our blood pressure in this room, according to another study. And I think we're only, and this is what Binks likes to do. So he's now going to sit with Nikki. Nikki, who he knows is the important person in the room. Yeah.
Really handsome boy.
I know. So, Nikki, what would you most, if you could change something, to do with dogs, perhaps in this country, what would it be?
How contentious can I be?
Oh, very contentious.
Well,
as much as you want.
I would stop dog breeding for at least 3 to 5 years. We have a horrific stray dog problem in this country now due to excess of 5 million dogs being adopted during COVID, lockdown dogs that people no longer want because of their lack of socialisation, fear of strangers, people are having to go back to work, and of course we have a failing economy and people can't afford to keep their dogs. So if I were to be able to do that, then I think that would make a huge difference. I think people generally need to be more informed about buying dogs and where they buy dogs from. There are a huge amount of puppy mills. Romania has the largest amount of puppy mills in the world, and those dogs are brought in every single day. So it's an educational moment of what I would change. Obviously, clearly close down every puppy mill. I would
Online sales.
Craigslist, Facebook.
I can't believe, and again, that was something that sort of became a de facto normal thing, to go and buy a dog from a dog website.
Yes. And then they meet you in a car park.
Yes.
And just pass over this little puppy, and obviously you would love the puppy, obviously, wouldn't you? You'd think, oh dear.
Well, you'd have to take it,
yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
So, I think government has promised so much, hasn't it? Haven't they, Nikki?
Well, it's particularly bad at the moment with the XL bully
really
breed ban, because it's not the dogs, it's never, and I will stand by this to the day I die, it is never the dog, it is the dog owner that turns the dog into the beast that they want it to be. And I read in the news the other day that our fabulous government are paying people £200 to take their bull breeds to be euthanized. Now,
I know.
That's absolutely
it's horrendous.
shocking.
It's like the
disgusting.
car scrappage scheme that we've had in London, with all the ULEZ stuff. But, that triggered a massive revolt. And the community's hired the most expensive barrister in this country who is challenging. There is a judicial review being filed against the government now.
Yeah.
So we shall see, because I didn't realise until this week that the measurement for an XL bully, I thought, it'll be very precise.
They've no idea.
It's one measurement, 19 inches high or more at the shoulder. And to be stocky and to have wrinkles and have a bit of a jowl, there could be so many dogs. So that's the other massive problem. But, let's hope that there's a positive outcome from all of that. I really think there needs to be, because it's not right. But Nikki, what else would you say in terms of Wild at Heart and, anyone listening that would like to adopt a dog? How do you help and guide people from contacting the charity? Because you must be obviously quite strict in where any adoptive dogs do go, so they have the best opportunities.
Yes, of course. We are probably, it's too easy to adopt a dog. It's too easy to go and get a dog, as you say, from anywhere. So, of course,
we have to Facebook.
You have to make sure that the dog is right, because that dog has one chance. And, whoever is going to, with all the shelters and amazing people out there at the moment who are rescuing dogs, and, that dog has one chance. So you have to make sure that dog you know really well that you're honest about its behaviour and its issues and its training and what it needs. And if it needs to live in the country, live in London with another dog, without another dog, with children, those things are so incredibly important. And you've got to be aware of that. And of course, it's a lifetime commitment. And, you know, we really make sure, I mean, we're actually, as a charity, I'm sure you know this at the moment, we're not rehoming dogs. We are focusing our efforts on helping in this country in terms of food. So we work with two charities actually. We work with the Norden Brixton Food Bank, so we're supplying food for dogs here, and the Street Paws Dog Champion Scheme that we're providing support and funds and food for.
Oh, that's
so
brilliant,
we are
Nikki.
helping here. If you are thinking of rescuing a dog, or if you want a bred dog, you can go to any shelter across the country, and you will find a French bulldog that has no longer wanted. You will find thousands of cockapoos that people can no longer cope with. So, and there are, of course, extraordinary charities that are still bringing dogs in from abroad, and you can adopt, because this problem is never going to go away. But you know, you do not need to go and buy a dog. Stop buying dogs. Rescue, even if it's a breed. Rescue. It's the most rewarding, positive thing you can do for yourself, for your family, for your children, and for your life.
Absolutely. You know, and just it enhances your skills,
Yes.
you know, and it enables you, to tap into interspecies communication and so much more. But I'm loving this support with food banks, because I do feel a lot of people are having to abandon their pets. They don't want to, and these pets have obviously been well looked after, and it's heartbreaking for people to have to not be able to afford them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, and we're always just a short way away from that. You never know what the future is. And I think, you know, to help people in those situations keep their dogs, stop them ending up in a kennel, you know, is paramount.
Yes, there's a lot of shame, I think, about going to a food bank anyway. Yes. And there's a lot of shame about feeding your dog when you have children. So, you know, it's giving people the ability to get, because I think food banks, the food parcel delivery has increased by something like 40% in the last 12 months. So, and a lot of those people do own dogs. So, you know, if we can supply food so that dog is it stays in its loving home, then, you know, that's a great thing to do here. You know, of course, charity begins at home, but we need to work all over the world because it's much needed. But, you know, I am very proud of the fact that the foundation is doing a lot of work now in the UK, and also, you know, with this amazing charity that you introduced us to, where we're working with pet-friendly hostels for the homeless, to encourage people, you know, people who are at disadvantage, to be able to take their dogs into hostels, and we're helping with that.
Yes, and
Thanks
that's, no, not at all, Nikki, not really. I mean, I know Street Paws does great work. So, of course, you know, being homeless with dogs can't be much fun. And the fact that so many hostels refuse dogs, and of course their owners, which are saying, no, I'm not going into the hostel, I'm not leaving my dog, you know, because the bond they have is so great. And of course, in a way, you know, they have a great life because they're with their owners 24/7. And they had a lot of stimulation. You know, people think it's cruel to have a dog, you know, living on the streets, but, you know, they're hardy. Dogs are hardy. But to allow them into hostels is brilliant, a massive step forward, and then with your support too. So I guess any food firms listening, prick up your ears,
give us food,
get wagging your tails.
And also, you know, as I say, we're sending out so much food to Romania and Poland, helping again with the crisis there, with people leaving Ukraine with their pets. You know, food is key.
Medication. I mean, you need everything.
Yes, we need anyone listening who has got a spare few million. I could spend it in a heartbeat saving the world. So, yes, do get in touch with Anna.
Oh, look, so Sam, Mr. Biggs loves Sam. He does love doing his little tour. He does.
Yeah, he's had a little snuggle with all of us.
He does love doing that.
He's very generous, isn't he?
He's a good boy. He is. He's a very sweet boy. He really is. Aren't you, Mr. Binks? And proof, that a rehome can be the best little dog in the whole wide world. Aren't you, Mr. Binks? Yes. That's right. You're in a lovely gallery room.
With amazing art.
With amazing art.
My goodness.
And on that note, it's time, I think, to go back upstairs and take a good look at the amazing art, Sam.
Yes.
So thank you again for all of this.
That's
And
all right.
I'm loving your art, because for me, it's just the way it's so simple. And the way you've just got a park bench and a human and a dog sitting looking out. That resonates, and that captures memories of when you sat on that park bench, might have been a bit down, maybe had an argument with someone, feeling pretty low, and it's just that moment in time. And I think that's what dogs are. They are your chapters in your lives, and they capture and make meaning of the moments in time.
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
And thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, well, I'm absolutely overjoyed. I'm so looking forward to going up and drawing some of those dogs up there for donations.
Yes. That's wonderful.
Yes.
And your dog
Fantastic. And Mr. Binks won't be the only dog in the room then.
You won't be. You won't be. You'll have
Can
lots
I
of
show you a
friends.
photograph of Rita? Could you
Yes.
draw Rita for me?
I could so draw
Oh.
Rita.
My little thug.
Yeah,
Little
Rita with my imaginary friend.
Yes.
Educating Rita.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Now, that would be a struggle. That's my Rita, but yeah.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Nikki,
Thank you, Anna.
Sam.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Sam, for your incredible kindness and generosity. Thank you.
That's our show, Mr. Binks. What did you think? Yes, I know you're excited about hopefully Sam Toft doing a little special sketch of you. And you're right, it is time for Woof of the Week. If you're thinking about bringing a dog into your life, please adopt, don't shop. Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, go on, rate and review the show wherever you tune into your podcasts. Thanks again, of course, to Sam Toft for joining us this evening, and to Nikki Tibbles talking about the amazing work of Wild at Heart Foundation. And all the links are in the show notes. Thanks, of course, to Mike Hansen, my producer, for all the music and production as ever. Find out more about him at Pod People UK. And for me, I'm just at Anna Webb Dogs. What's that, Mr. Binks? Yes, you're right. We will be back in your feed next Sunday. So go on, subscribe. It's free. And that way you'll never miss another show. Bye for now.
Pod people.